Samsaradava Nalida Luka Janaya Kayanya Ganaganatvam Praptasya Kalyana Gunanavasya Vande Guru Shri Sharanaravinda Mahaprabhu Kirta Nitya Gita Aditya Madhya Manasarasena Romanchakam Pashutayanga Vaja Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda Shri Vigraharadhana Nityanana Shingaratan Mandira Majanala Yuktasya Bhakta Shanyanjatapi Vande Guru Shri Sharanaravinda Chaturveda Shri Bhagavad Prasado Swarana Tripta Naribhakta Sangha Kritaiva Triptim Bhajata Sadeva Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda Shri Radhika Madhava Yorapara Madhurya Lila Guna Rupanam Pratikshana Svadanalolupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda Nikunjayuna Etikeli Siddhai Yaya Libya Tirapekshaniya Tatrati Dakshadati Vallabhasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda Sakshadarit Vina Samasta Shastra Uktastatava Yataiva Sarvi Kintu Prabhuya Privatasya Vande Guru Shri Sharanaravinda Yasya prasada Bhagavad prasada Yasya prasada Nagati kutapi Dayam stubam stasya Yasya strisanyam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravina Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Pasyacha Dishatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. Jaya Radha Nila Mada Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Nila Mada Shri Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhaja. Jaya Sitaram, Jaya Sitaram Jaya Sitaram Jaya Lakshmana Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Nitya Haribo 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 Nitya Haribo
Jai Shnupada Paramahamsa Vajaka Chaya Shtota Shata Shishmata Divine Grace Apar Chandarinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBTPI Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Shnupada Paramahamsa Vajaka Chaya Shtota Shata Shishmata Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत दाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद किले गोवर्धन की जय श्री व्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की जय श्री नवद्वीप मायपुर धाम की जय श्री पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय श्री अयोध्या धाम की जय गंगा माई की जय यमुना माई की जय भक्ति देवी की जय तुलसी देवी की जय समावृत भक्तवृंद की जय श्रील जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जी तिरुपावा महोत्सव की जय श्री रसिकानंद ठाकुर तिरुपावा महोत्सव की जय His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Srila Gurudev Tirobhava Mahosava ki jai Harinama Sankirtana ki jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Paladala dadaine. Hiranya kasi purvasaha. Silatanka nakhalaye. To Narsimha par to Narsimha. Yato yato yami tato Narsimha. Baher Narsimha Hirade Narsimha. Narasimha Madim Sharanam Parpade. Narasimha Madim Sharanam Parpade. Tavakara Kamalavare नाकाम् अद्भुतसिंहा दलिता हिरण्यकशिपुर तनुभृङ्गा केशवधीरता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवधीरता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जयो नरसिंहदेव जयो नरसिंहदेव नरसिंहदेव जयो नरसिंहदेव जयो भक्त प्रहलाद भक्त प्रहलाद भक्त प्रहलाद जयो भक्त प्रहलाद जयो जयो प्रभुपाद 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 जयो जयो प्रभुपाद जयो जयो गुरुदेव 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 जयो जयो गुरुदेव नरसिम्हदेव भगवान की जय प्रहलाद महाराज की जय गौर परमानंद
वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशव सच विष्णु भक्ति पदे देवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः
देवी सत्तायवती नमो नमः
देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय।
అక్కడ తీసుకుంటా नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्णा प्रियासी नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः। राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो हे अभिलाषी। राधा कृष्ण सेवा पाओ हे अभिलाषी। ये तो मारा शरण लय तारा वंश पूरन हो। कृपा कोरी करो तारे वृंदावन वासी। मोर ये अभिलाष विलास कुंज दियो वास। नयने हिरिबो साजा युगल रूप राशि। नयने हिरिबो साजा युगल रूप राशि। निवेदन धरो शकीरानुघाट करो। निवेदन धरो शकीरानुघाट करो। सेवा अधिकार दिए करो निज दासी। दीन कृष्ण दासे कहो ये न मोरा हो। श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेम सदा ये न बासी। श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेम सदा ये न बासी। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पादे पदे। तानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol. जय तुलसी महारानी, जय तुलसी महारानी, जय वृंदा देवी, जय वृंदा देवी. निताय गौरा हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, निताय गौर हरि बोल. जय जय प्रभुपाद, 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद.
Lord Tulasi, beloved of Krishna, I bow down before you again and again. My desire to serve the Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of you has wish fulfilled. Bestow mercy upon him and make him a resident of Vrindavana. My desire also grant me residence in the precious groves of Shri Vrindavana Dham. Thus within my vision I shall behold the beautiful pastime of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower of Karha dance of the Virgin. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own maid servant. This very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna prays. May I always swim in the love of Shri Radha and Govinda. Srimati Tulasi Maharani ki jai. So today we are celebrating the Disciplin's Day of Srila Jagannath Das Babaji and His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Srila Gurudev. Program started at 10:30 a.m. Hare Krishna. There are 10 offenses in the matter of chant holy name that should be avoided, and they are as follows. 1. To blaspheme the devotees or dedicate their life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider the name of the demigods Lord Shiva or Brahma to be equal to independent name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature pursuing Vedic version. 5. To consider the glory of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation of the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activity and the strength of chanting holy name. 8. To consider chanting Hare Krishna with auspicious ritualistic activities, offering the Vedas fruity activities, karma, ganda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about glorious holy name. 10. To not complete faith in the chanting holy names, and to maintain mature attachments in understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims a Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 offenses. In order to quickly achieve desired success, Krishna Prema. Now let us offer our most humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just as I choose who can fulfill to everyone. They are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Cheto darpana marjanam pavamaha tavakni nirvapanam Shriya kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavatu jivanam Anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purunamita swadanam Sarvatma snapanam paravijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam namakari bahuda nija sarva shaktis Tatra pita niyamita smaranena kalaha Etadishi tava kripa bhagavam mamapi Durudeva mi desham yaha janina nurakaha Trinatapi sunicena tarorapi sahishnuna Amanina manadena kirtaniya sada harihi Na thanam na chanam na sundarim kavitam vajagadisha kamaye Mama jammani jammanishvare bhavata bhaktir haituki tvai Ayinanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddha Kripaya tava pada pankaja stita duri satesha machintaya Nayanam karadashuru daraya vadanam katkata rudaya gira Pulaka nichitam vapo kada tava nama kahane bhavishati Yuga itam nimishena chakshusha pravisha itam Shunya itam jagat sarvam govinda virahe name Ashrisha vapadaradam pinnastumam Atarshanam marmahatam karotu va Yatha tatha va vitatatu lampato mat prana nathastu sa eva na paraha Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Glory to Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes fire of conditional life, repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is prime benediction of humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which always anxious. Oh my Lord, your holy name alone grants all benediction to human beings. Thus you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh my Lord, out kindness enables us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I'm so unfortunate I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Oh my Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor to desire beautiful women, nor do I want any noble followers. Only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Sahamarjananda Krishna, I'm an eternal servitor, yet somehow I fall in the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms of lotus feet. Oh my Lord, while my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name, while my voice choke up, while hairs of my body stand end recitation of your name. Oh Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considered a moment to be like a great millennium. Tears are flowing from my eyes are torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord. He shall remain so if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipable Lord, unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Shri Mangala Aarti prayers ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshum Litam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Suyam Rupa Kadamahyam Tatati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurung Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pachate Shatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshapani Devi Daitaya Kripaptaye Krishna Sampanna Vijnana Dayine Prapavinnamaha Madhuyo Jala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktita Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostate Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruta Pasiddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipalambara Sambodhe Padam Pujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Virbhava Bhumistvam Nirtishta Sajanapriyaha Vaishnava Sarabhama Shri Jaganathaya Te Namaha Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishin Namaha Pancha Tattvatmakam Krishna Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakham Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Sratoro Pangor Mamamanda Mater Kati Masarvasa Padam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divya Vindadanya Kalpadu Mada Shimadra Nagara Singhasanasto Shrimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Prishtaribi Sevyamano Smarami Shriman Rasa Rasaram Bivam Shivata Tatastitaha Karsham Venu Saner Gopir Gopinatha Shiyestuna Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishvari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Panamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Mangalacharna Prayers Ki Jai Shri Brahma Samhita Ki Jai Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadya Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Chintamani Parakara Satmasukapa Viksha Lakshariteshu Surabi Rabi Padayantam Lakshmi Sahasa Shatasam Brahmasevyamanam Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Venun Kavanantam Aravinda Dalayataksham Parhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Gantarpa Goti Kamaniya Vishesha Shopam Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Alola Chantaka Lasavana Madhavamshi Ranangadam Panayakeli Kalavilasam Shamam Tripanga Lalitam Yatapakasham Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Rittimanti Pashanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chimme Satujala Vigrahasya Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Advaitam Achotam Anadi Mananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedesho Durabam Adurabam Atma Bhakta Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Pantastu Koti Shatavassara Samprakamyo Vayuratapi Manaso Muni Pangavanam Sopyasti Yapapata Simya Vichinta Tatve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Ekopya Sara Chaitum Jagatanta Kotim Ya Chakti Rasti Jagatanta Chayaya Tantaha Antantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Yad Bhava Pavita Diyo Manujastateva Samprapya Rupa Mahima Sanayana Bhushaha Suktayam Eva Nikama Patitai Stuvanti Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Ananda Chimma Rasa Patibhavitapis Tapya Eva Jarupataya Kalapihi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Premanjana Churutha Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sateva Hidayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundam Achintya Guna Swarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Ramadi Murtishu Kalanyamena Tishtan Nanavataram Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramapumam Yo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Pajami. Krishna, who is the Govinda, the Supreme Godhead, has an eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin and the prime cause of all causes.
Sorry. That's okay. I worship Govinda, the primary Lord, the first progenitor, who is tending the cows, yielding all desire in abodes built with spiritual games, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who was adept in playing on his flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock's feather, with a figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue of clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, round whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers, beautified with moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with a flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful threefold bending form of Shamasundara is eternally manifest.
I worship Govinda, primary Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and is thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all of the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purusha, yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis, who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama, by drilling the respiration, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane extending over thousands of millions of years.
He is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor. Thereof, in his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable, and all the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord whom I adore.
I adore the Semi-Govinda, the primeval Lord, in whose praise men who are imbued with devotion sing the mantra suktas taught by the Vedas, by getting their appropriate beauty, greatness, thrones, conveyances, and ornaments.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of the 64 artistic activities in the company of her confidant, Sakis, embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa.
I worship Govinda, the primary Lord, who is Shyam Sundar Krishna himself with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their hearts with the eye of devotion, tanked with the salve of love.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna and the different avatars in the worldling forms of Rama, Nrsimha, Vamana, etc., as his subjective portions. Shri Brahma Samhita Ki Jai.
Bhagavad Gita 7.1 purport. Srinvatam swakada Krishna punya sravana kirtanaha hridayanta histo hi apatrani vidunoti sahritsatam nasta prayesva abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki tada rajastamo bhava kama lobhadayaschaye cheta eter anavidam sitam sattve prasidati evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogatah भगवत तत्व विज्ञानम मुक्त संगस्य जायते विद्यते हृदय ग्रंथेश्चिद्यन्ते सर्व संशयाः क्षीयन्ते च कर्माणि दृष्टा एवात्मनीश्वरे. To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lust and avarice are diminished. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of Asamsayam Samagram, understanding of the absolute truth, personality of Godhead, Bhagavatam 1.2.17-21. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. Hare Krishna. We'll continue reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 15, Text 46. Kumara Uchuhu Yo antarhito hridi gatopi duratmanam tvam sotyai no nayana mulam anantaradaha yarhi eva karna vivarena guham gato naha pitranuvarnita raha bhavad udbhavena. Kumara Uchuhu, the Kumara said, Yaha, he who, antarhitaha, not manifested, hridi, in the heart, gataha, is seated, api, even though, duratmanam, to the rascals, tvam, you, saha, he, adya, today, eva, eva, certainly, naha, of us, nayana moolam, face to face, ananta, O unlimited one, radhaha, attained, yarhi, when, eva, certainly, karna vivarena, through the ears, guham, intelligence, gataha, have attained, naha, our pitra, by our father, anuvarnita, described, raha, mysteries, bhavat udbhavena, by your appearance. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Kumaras said, Our dear Lord, you are not manifested to rascals, even though you are seated within the heart of everyone. But as far as we are concerned, we see you face to face, although you are unlimited. The statements we have heard about you from our father Brahma through the years have now been actually realized by your kind appearance. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The so-called yogis who concentrate their mind or meditate upon the impersonal or void are described here. This verse of Srimad Bhagavatam describes persons who are expected to be very expert yogis engaged in meditation, but who do not find the Supreme Personality of Godhead seated within the heart. These persons are described here as Duratma, which means a person who has very crooked heart, or a less intelligent person, just opposite to a Mahatma, which means one has a broad heart. Those so-called yogis who, although engaged in meditation, are not broad-hearted, cannot find the four-handed Narayana form, even though he is seated within their heart. Although the first realization of the Supreme Absolute Truth is impersonal Brahman, one should not remain satisfied with experiencing the impersonal effulgence of the Supreme Lord. In the Ishopanishad also, the devotee prays that the glaring effulgence of Brahman may be removed from his eyes so that he can see the real personal feature of the Lord and thus satisfy himself fully. Similarly, although the Lord is not visible in the beginning because of his glaring body effulgence, if a devotee sincerely wants to see him, the Lord is revealed to him. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that the Lord cannot be seen by our imperfect eyes. He can be heard by our imperfect ears. He cannot be heard by our imperfect ears, and he cannot be experienced by our imperfect senses. But if one engages in devotional service with the faith and devotion, then God reveals himself. Here the four sages, Sanat Kumara, Sanatana, Sanandana, and Sanaka, are described as actually sincere devotees. Although they had heard from their father Brahma about the personal feature of the Lord, only the impersonal feature Brahman was revealed to them. But because they were sincerely searching out for the Lord, they finally saw his personal feature directly, which corresponded with the description given by their father. They thus became fully satisfied. Here they express their gratitude because although they were foolish impersonalists in the beginning, by the grace of the Lord, they could now have the good fortune to see his personal feature. Another significant aspect of this verse is that the sages describe their experience of hearing from their father, Brahma, who was born of the Lord directly. In other words, the disciplic succession from the Lord to Brahma and from Brahma to Narada and Narada to Vyasa and so on is accepted here. Because the Kumaras were sons of Brahma, they had the opportunity to learn Vedic knowledge from the disciplic succession of Brahma. And therefore, in spite of their impersonalist beginnings, they became, in the end, direct seers of the personal feature of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 15, Text 47. Tam tvam vidhama bhagavan param atma tattvam satvena samprapti ratim rachayantam esham yatte nutapavadithair dhruda bhakti yogair udgrantayo hridi vidhur munayo viragaha. Tam, him, tvam, you, vidhama, we know, Bhagavan, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, Param, the Supreme, Atma Tattvam, Absolute Truth, Satvena, by your form of pure goodness, Samprati, now, Ratim, love of God, Rachayantam, creating, Esam, of all of them, Yat, which, Te, your, Anutapa, mercy, Vidithai, understood, Dhrida, unflinching, Bhakti Yogai, through devotional service, Udra Grantayaha, without attachment, free from material bondage, Hridi, in the heart, Viduhu, understood, Munayaha, great sages, Viragaha, not interested in material life, translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We know that you are the Supreme Absolute Truth, the Personality of Godhead, who manifests his transcendental form in the uncontaminated mode of pure goodness. This transcendental eternal form of your personality can be understood only by your mercy, through unflinching devotional service, by great sages whose hearts have been purified in the devotional way. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Absolute Truth can be understood in three features: impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here it is admitted that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the last word in understanding the Absolute Truth. Even though the four Kumaras were instructed by their great learned father Brahma, they could not actually understand the Absolute Truth. They could only understand the supreme absolute truth when they personally saw the personality of Godhead with their own eyes. In other words, if one sees or understands the supreme personality of Godhead in other two features of the absolute truth, namely impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma, are also automatically understood. Therefore, the Kumaras confirm, you are the ultimate absolute truth. The impersonalists may argue that since the Supreme Person of Godhead was so nicely decorated, he was therefore not the absolute truth. Here it is all the variegatedness of the absolute platform is constituted of Suddha Tattva, pure goodness. In the material world, any quality, goodness, passion, or ignorance is contaminated. Even the quality of goodness here in the material world is not free from tinges of passion and ignorance. But in the transcendental world, only pure goodness without any tinge of passion or ignorance exists. Therefore, the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his variegated pastimes and paraphernalia are all pure sattva guna. Such variegatedness in pure goodness is exhibited eternally by the Lord for the satisfaction of the devotee. The devotee does not want to see the Supreme Personality of Absolute Truth in voidness or impersonalism. In one sense, absolute transcendental variegatedness is meant only for the devotees, not for others. Because this distinct feature of transcendental variegatedness can be understood only by the mercy of the Supreme Lord and not by mental speculation or the ascending process, it is said that one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead when one is even slightly favored by Him. Otherwise, without His mercy, a man may speculate for thousands of years and not understand what is actually the absolute truth. This mercy can be perceived by the devotee when he is completely freed from contamination. It is stated, therefore, that only when all contamination is rooted out and the devotee is completely detached from material attractions can he receive this mercy of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 15, Text 48. Natyantikam viganayanti apithe prasadam kim va anyad arpita bhayam bhruva unayaste yenaga tvad angri sarana bhavatha kataya kirantaya tirthayasasha kushala rasa not atyantikam liberation vijanayanti care for api even they those prasadam benedictions kim you what to speak anyat other material happiness arpita given bhayam fearfulness bhruva of the eyebrows unayai by the raising they your those devotees anga o supreme personality of Godhead tvat your angry lotus feet sarana who have taken shelter bhavataha your katayah narrations kirtanya worth chanting tirtha pure yashashaha glories kushalaha very expert rasa gnaha knowers of the mellows or humors. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Persons who are very expert and most intelligent in understanding things as they are engaged in hearing narrations of the auspicious activities and pastimes of the Lord, which are worth chanting and worth hearing. Such persons do not care even for the highest material benediction, namely liberation, to say nothing or other less important benedictions like the material happiness of the heavenly kingdom. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The transcendental bliss enjoyed by the devotee of the Lord is completely different from the material happiness enjoyed by less intelligent persons. The less intelligent persons in the material world are engaged with the four principles of benediction called dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Generally, they prefer to take to religious life to achieve some material benediction, the purpose of which is to satisfy the senses. When by that process they become confused or frustrated in fulfilling the maximum amount of sense enjoyment, they try to become one with the Supreme, which is according to their conception, mukti or liberation. There are 5 kinds of liberation, the least important of which is called sayujya, to become one with the Supreme. Devotees don't care for such liberation because they are actually intelligent, nor are they inclined to accept any of the other 4 kinds of liberation, namely to live on the same planet as the Lord. to live with him side by side as an associate, to have the same opulence and to attain the same bodily features. They are concerned only with glorifying the Supreme Lord and His auspicious activities. Pure devotional service is Ravanam Kirtanam. Pure devotees who take transcendental pleasure in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord do not care for any kind of liberation, even if they are offered the five liberations. They refuse to accept them, as stated in the Bhagavatam in the third canto. Materialistic persons aspire for the sense enjoyment of heavenly pleasure in the heavenly kingdom. But devotees reject such material pleasure at once. The devotee does not even care for the post of Indra. A devotee knows that any pleasure material position is subject to be annihilated at a certain point, even if one reaches the post of Indra, Chandra, or any other demigod. He must be dissolved at a certain stage. A devotee is never interested in such temporary pleasure. From Vedic scriptures, it is understood that sometimes even Brahma and Indra fall down. But a devotee in the transcendental abode of the Lord never falls. This transcendental stage of life, in which one feels transcendental pleasure in hearing the Lord's pastimes, is also recommended by Lord Chaitanya. When Lord Chaitanya was talking with Ramananda Raya, there were varieties of suggestions offered by Ramananda regarding spiritual realization. But Lord Chaitanya rejected all but one, that one should hear the glories of the Lord in association with pure devotees. That is acceptable for everyone, especially in this age. One should engage himself in hearing from pure devotees about the activities of the Lord. That is considered the supreme transcendental, supreme benediction for mankind.
Text 49, Canto 3, Chapter 15. Kamam bhavasva vrjanir nirayeshinastach cheto livadyadi nute padayorameta vachas chanas tulasivad yadite nangrishobha puryetare guna puryetate gunaganair yadikarnarandraha kamam, as much as deserved, bhavaha, birth, swa virginai, by our own sinful activities, nirayeshu, in low birth, na, our, stad, let it be, chetaha, minds, alivat, like bees, yadi, if, nu, maybe, te, your, padayo, at your lotus feet, rameta, are engaged, vachaha, words, cha, and na, our, tulasivat, like the tulasi leaves, yadi, if, te, you are hungry at your lotus feet, shobha, beautified, puryeta, are filled, te, you are, gunaganai, by transcendental qualities, yadi, if, karnarandra, the holes of the ears. Translation: O Lord, we pray that you let us be born in any hellish condition of life, just as long as our hearts and minds are always engaged in the service of your lotus feet. Our words are made beautiful by speaking of your activities, just as tulasi leaves are beautified when offered unto your lotus feet, and as long as our ears are always filled with the chanting of your transcendental qualities. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The four sages now offer their humility to the personality of Godhead, because of their having been haughty in cursing toward the devotees of the Lord. Jaya and Vijaya, the two doorkeepers who checked them from entering the Vaikuntha planet, were certainly offenders, but as Vaishnavas, the four sages should not have cursed them in anger. After the incidents, they became conscious that they had done wrong by cursing the devotees of the Lord. And they prayed to the Lord that even in the hellish condition of life, their minds might not be distracted from the engagement of service to the lotus feet of the Lord Narayana. Those who are devotees of the Lord are not afraid of any condition of life, provided there is a constant engagement in the service of the Lord. It is said of the Narayana Para, those who are devotees of Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nakutaschana Bibhyati, Bhagavatam 6.17.28. They are not afraid of entering any hellish condition, for since they are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, heaven or hell is the same for them. In material life, both heaven and hell are one and the same because they are material. In either place, there is no engagement in the Lord's service. Therefore, those who are engaged in the service of the Lord see no distinction between the heaven and the hell. It is only the materialists who prefer one to the other. These four devotees prayed to the Lord that although they might go to hell because they had cursed devotees, they might not forget the service of the Lord. The transcendental loving service of the Lord is performed in three ways: with the body, with the mind, and with the words. Here the sages pray that their words may always be engaged in glorifying the Supreme Lord. One may speak very nicely with the ornamental language, or one may be expert at controlled grammatical presentation. But if one's words are not engaged in the service of the Lord, they have no flavor and no actual use. The example is given here of tulsi leaves. The tulsi leaf is very useful even from the medicinal or antiseptic point of view. It is considered sacred and is offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. The tulsi leaf has numerous good qualities, but if it were not offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, tulsi could not be of much value or importance. Similarly, one may speak very nicely from the rhetorical or grammatical point of view, which may be very much appreciated by materialistic audience. But if one's words are not offered to the service of the Lord, they are useless. The holes of the ears are very small and can be filled with any insignificant sound. So how can they receive as a great vibration as a glorification of the Lord? The answer is that the holes of the ears are like the sky. As the sky can never be filled up, the quality of the ear is such that one may go on pouring in vibrations of various kinds, yet it is capable of receiving more and more vibrations. A devotee is not afraid of going to hell if he has the opportunity to hear the glories of the Lord constantly. This is the advantage of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One may be put in any condition, but God gives him the prerogative to chant Hare Krishna. In any condition of life, if one goes on chanting, he will never be unhappy.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 15, Text 15. Vradaschu karta yad idam puruhuta rupam tenesha nirvitam avapur alam drisho naha tasma idam bhagavate nama idvidema yonatmanam durudayo bhagavan pratitaham praduscha karta you have manifested yat which idam this puruhuta who greatly worshipped Rupam, eternal form. Thena, by that form. Isha, O Lord. Nivritam, satisfaction. Avapuhu, contained. Alam, so much. Darsha, Drishaha, vision. Naha, or Tasmai, unto him. Idam, this. Bhagavate, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Namaha, obeisances. It only. Vidhema, let us offer. Yaha, who. Anatmanam, of those who are less intelligent. Duradayaha cannot be seen. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pratitaha has been seen by us. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Lord, we therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto your eternal form as the Personality of Godhead, which you have so kindly manifested before us. Your supreme eternal form cannot be seen by unfortunate, less intelligent persons, but we are so much satisfied in our mind and vision to see it. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The four sages were impersonalists in the beginning of their spiritual life, but afterwards, by the grace of their father and spiritual master Brahma, they understood the eternal spiritual form of the Lord and felt completely satisfied. In other words, the transcendentalists who aspire to the impersonal Brahman or localized Paramatma are not fully satisfied and still hanker for more. Even if they are satisfied in their minds, still transcendentally their eyes are not satisfied. But as soon as such persons cannot come to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are satisfied in all respects. In other words, they become devotees and want to see the form of the Lord continually. It is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita that one who has developed transcendental love of Krishna by spearing his eyes with the ointment of love sees constantly the eternal form of the Lord. The particular word used in the connection, Ananta Atmanam, signifies those who have no control over the mind and senses and who therefore speculate and want to become one with the Lord. Such persons cannot have the pleasure of seeing the eternal form of the Lord. For the impersonalists and the so called yogis, the Lord is always hidden by the curtain of Yoga Maya. Bhagavad Gita says that even when Lord Krishna was seen by everyone while he was present on the surface of the earth, the impersonalists and the so called yogis could not see him because they were devoid of devotional eyesight. The theory of the impersonalists and the so called yogi is that the Supreme Lord assumes a particular form when he comes in touch with Maya, although actually he has no form. This very conception of the middle impersonalists and the so called and the so-called yogis is that the Supreme Lord assumes a particular form when he comes in touch with the Maya, although although actually he has no form. This very conception of the impersonalist and the so-called yogis checks them from seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he is. The Lord, therefore, is always beyond the sight of such non-devotees. The four sages felt so much obliged to the Lord that they offered their respectful obeisance unto him and again and again. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 15th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Description of the Kingdom of God, chapter 16.
The two doorkeepers of Vaikuntha, Jaya and Vijaya, cursed by the sages. Text 1. Brahmavacha iti tad grunatam tesham muninam yoga dharminam pratinandya jagadidam vikunta nilayo vibhu. Brahmavacha, Lord Brahma said, iti thus, tat, speech, granatam, praising, tesam, of them, muninam, those four sages, yoga dharminam, engaged in linking with the Supreme, pratinandya, after congratulating, Jagada said, idam, these words, Vaikuntha nilayaha, whose abode is bereft of anxiety, Vibhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation. Lord Brahma said, after thus congratulating the sages for their nice words, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose abode is the Kingdom of God, spoke as follows. Text 2. Sri Bhagavan Vacha etau tu parshadau mahyam jayo vijaye vacha kadarti krityamam yadvo bahva krutam atikramam. Sri Bhagavan Vacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Yetau, these two, Tau, they, Parsadau, attendants, Mahyam, of mine, Jaya, named Jaya, Vijaya, named Vijaya, Eva, certainly, Cha, and Kadarti Kritya, by ignoring, Mam, me, Yat, which, Va, against you, Bahu, great, Akratam, have committed, Atikramam, offense. Translation. The Personality of Godhead said, these attendants of mine, Jaya and Vijaya, by name, have committed a great offense against you because of ignoring me. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. To commit an offense at the feet of a devotee of the Lord is a great wrong. Even when a living entity is promoted to Vaikuntha, there is still the chance that he may commit offenses. But the difference is that when one is in Vaikuntha planet, even if by chance one commits an offense, he is protected by the Lord, as seen in the present incidents concerning Jaya Vijaya. The word atikramam used herein indicates that in offending a devotee, one neglects the Supreme Lord himself. By mistake, the doormen held the sages from even entering Vaikuntha Loka. But because they were engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord, their annihilation was not expected by advanced devotees. The Lord's presence on the spot was very pleasing to the hearts of devotees. The Lord understood that the trouble was due to his lotus feet not being seen by the sages. and therefore he wanted to please them by personally going there. The Lord is so merciful that even if there is some impediment for the devotee, he himself manages matters in such a way that the devotee is not bereft of having audience at his lotus feet. There is a very good example in the life of Haridasa Thakura. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was residing at Jagannath Puri, Haridasa Thakura, who happened to be Mohammedan by birth, was with him. In Hindu temples, especially in those days, no one but a Hindu was allowed to enter. Although Haridasa Thakura was the greatest of all Hindus, in his behavior he considered himself a Mohammedan and did not enter the temple. Lord Chaitanya could understand his humility, and since he did not go to see the temple, Lord Chaitanya himself, who is not different from Jagannatha, used to come and sit with Haridasa Thakura daily. Here in Srimad Bhagavatam, we also find this same behavior of the Lord. His devotees were prevented from seeing his lotus feet, but the Lord himself came to see them on the same lotus feet for which they aspired. It is also significant that he was accompanied by the goddess of fortune. The goddess of fortune is not to be seen by any ordinary person, but the Lord was so kind that although the devotees did not aspire for such an honor, he appeared before them with the goddess of fortune. Text 3, Canto 3, Chapter 16. Yasva yatayor drutadando bhagava bhavadbhirmam anuvratai sava eva anumatno smabir munayo deva helanat. Yeah, which? 2. But etayo, regarding both Jaya and Vijaya. Dhritaha has been given, danda, punishment. Bhavadbhihi, by you, mom, me. Anuvratai, devoted to, sah, that, eva, certainly. Anumataha is approved. Asmabi, by me, munayaha, O great sages. Deva, against you. Helanath, because of an offense. Translation: O great sages, I approve of the punishment that you who are devoted to me have meted out them. Text 4. Tadva prasadayami adya brahmadaivam param hime tadditi atmakridam manye yatsvapumbir asatkrutaha. Tat, therefore, va, you sages, prasadayami, I am seeking your forgiveness, adya, just now, Brahma, the Brahmanas, Daivam, most beloved personalities, Param, highest, he, because, me, my, tat, that, offense, he, because, iti, thus, atmakritam, done by me, manye, I consider, yat, which, svapumbihi, by my own attendance, asatkrita, having been disrespected. Translation: to me, the Brahmana is the highest and most beloved personality. The disrespect shown by my attendants has actually been displayed by me because the doormen are my servitors. I take this to be an offense by myself. Therefore, I seek your forgiveness for the incident that has arisen. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Lord is always in favor of the Brahmanas and cows, and therefore it is said, Gro Brahmana Hitacha, Lord Krishna or Vishnu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is also worshipable deity of the Brahmanas. In the Vedic literature, the Rig Mantra hymns of the Rig Veda, it is stated that those who are actually Brahmanas always look to the lotus feet of Vishnu. Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Surayaha. Those who are qualified Brahmanas worship only the Vishnu form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which means Krishna, Rama, and all Vishnu expansions. A so-called Brahmana who is born in the family of Brahmanas but performs activities aimed against the Vaishnavas cannot be accepted as a Brahmana. Because Brahmana means Vaishnava and Vaishnava means Brahmana. One who has become a devotee of the Lord is also a Brahmana. The formula is Brahma Janatiti Brahmana. A Brahmana is one who has understood Brahman, and a Vaishnava is one who has understood the personality of Godhead. Brahman realization is the beginning of realization of the personality of Godhead. One who understands the personality of Godhead also knows the impersonal feature of the Supreme, which is Brahman. Therefore, one who becomes a Vaishnava is already a Brahmana. It should be noted that the glories of the Brahmana described in this chapter by the Lord Himself refer to his devotee Brahmana or the Vaishnava. It should never be misunderstood that so called Brahmanas who are born in Brahmana families but have no Brahmanic qualification are referred to in this connection. Text 5, Canto 3, Chapter 16. यन्नामानि च गृह्णाति लोकभृत्य कृतागसी ससाधु वादस्तत्कीर्तिं हन्ति त्वचम् इवामयाः yet of whom namani, the names cha and grihnati take, lokaha, people in general, bhritya, when a servant, krita agasi, has committed something wrong, sah, that, asadau vadaha, blame, tat, of that person, kirtim, the reputation, hanti, destroys, tvacham, the skin, iva, as, amayaha, leprosy. Translation: a wrong act committed by a servant leads people in general to blame his master, just as a spot of white leprosy on any part of the body pollutes all of the skin. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. A Vaishnava therefore should be fully qualified. As stated in the Bhagavatam, anyone who has become a Vaishnava has developed all the good qualities of the demigods. There are 26 qualifications mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. A devotee should always see that his Vaishnava qualities increase with the advancement of his Krishna consciousness. A devotee should be blameless because any offense by the devotee is a scar on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The devotee's duty is to be always conscious in his dealings with others, especially with another devotee of the Lord.
3.16.6 यस्यामृतामालयसा श्रवानगतः साद्य पुनाति जगतस्वपाचाद्विकुन्त सोऽहं भवाद्या उपलाभ्य सूर्तिकीर्तिस् चिन्त्यं स्वबाहुम् अपि वा प्रतिकूलवृत्तिम्. Yasya, of whom, Amrita, nectar, Amala, uncontaminated, Yashaha, glories, Shravana, hearing, Avagaha, entering into, Sadhya, immediately, Punati, purifies, Jagat, the universe, Ashvapachat, including even the dog eaters, Vikuntaha, without anxiety, Saha, that person, Aham, I am, Bavad, Bayaha, from you, Upalabdha, obtained, Sutirtha, the best place of pilgrimage, Kirtihi, the fame, Chintam, would cut off, Swabahum, my own arm, Api, even, Vaha, towards you, Pratikula Vrittim, acting inimically. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anyone in the entire world, even down to the Chandala, who lives by cooking and eating the flesh of a dog, is immediately purified if he takes bath in hearing through the ear, the glorification of my name, fame, etc. Now you have released me without doubt. Therefore, I will not hesitate to lop off my own arm if its conduct is found hostile to you. Purport: real purification can take place in human society if its members take to Krishna consciousness. This is clearly stated in all Vedic literature. Anyone who takes to Krishna consciousness in all sincerity, even if he is not very advanced in good behavior, is purified. A devotee can be recruited from any section of human society, although it is not expected that everyone in all segments of society is well behaved. As stated in this verse and in many places in Bhagavad Gita, even if one is not in a Brahmana family, or even if he is born in a family of Chandalas, if he simply takes to Krishna consciousness, he is immediately purified. In Bhagavad Gita 9 chapter verse 30 to 32, it is clearly stated that even though a man is not well behaved, if he simply takes to Krishna consciousness, he is understood to be a saintly person. As long as a person is in the material world, he has two different relationships in his dealing with others. One relationship pertains to the body and the other pertains to the spirit. As far as bodily affairs or social activities are concerned, although a person is purified on the spiritual platform, it is sometimes seen that he acts in terms of the bodily relationships. If a devotee born in the family of Chandala, the lowest caste, is sometimes found engaged in his habitual activities, he is not to be considered a Chandala. In other words, a Vaishnava should not be evaluated in terms of his body. The Shastra states that no one should think the deity in the temple to be made of wood or stone, and no one should think that a person coming from a lower caste family who has taken to Krishna consciousness is still of the same low caste. These attitudes are forbidden because anyone who takes to Krishna consciousness is understood to be fully purified. He is at least engaged in the process of purification, and if he sticks to the principle of Krishna consciousness, he will very soon be fully purified. The conclusion is that if one takes to Krishna consciousness with all seriousness, he is to be understood as already purified, and Krishna is ready to give him protection by all means. The Lord assures herein that he is ready to give protection to his devotee even if there is need to cut off part of his own body.
Text 7, Canto 3, Chapter 16. Yat sevaya charana padma pavitra renum sadhyakshata kila malam pratilabdha seelam nashrir vikritam apimam vijahati yasya preksha lavadaitare niyamam vahanti. Yet of whom sevaya by the service, charana feet, padma lotus, pavitra sacred, rain in the dust, sadhya immediately, kshata wiped out, akila all, malam sins, pratilabdha acquired, seelam disposition, no not, Shri the goddess of fortune, viraktham have no attachment, api even though, mam me, vijahati leave, yasha of the goddess of fortune, preksha lavardaha for obtaining a slight favor, itare others like Lord Brahma, niyaman sacred cows, vahanti observe. Translation: The Lord continued, because I am the servitor of my devotees, my lotus feet have become so sacred that they immediately wipe out all sin, and I have acquired such a disposition that the goddess of fortune does not leave me, even though I have no attachment for her, and others praise her beauty and observe sacred vows to secure from her even a slight favor. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The relationship between the Lord and his devotee is transcendently beautiful. As the devotee thinks that it is due to being a devotee of the Lord that he is elevated to all good qualities, so the Lord also thinks that it is because of his devotion to the servitor that all his transcendental glories have increased. In other words, as the devotee is always anxious to render service to the Lord, so the Lord is ever anxious to render service to the devotee. The Lord admits herein that although he certainly has a quality that anyone who receives a slight particle of the dust of his lotus feet becomes at once a great personality, this greatness is due to his affection for his devotee. It is because of this affection that the goddess of fortune does not leave him, and that not only one but many thousands of goddesses of fortune engage in his service. In the material world, simply to get a little favor from the goddess of fortune, people observe many rigid regulations of austerity and penance. The Lord cannot tolerate any inconvenience on the part of the devotee. He is therefore famous as Bhakta Vachala. Text 8. Naham tatadmi yajamana havirvitani sotat grita prutam adanhuta bunmukina yad brahmanasya mukatascharato nugasham tustasya mai avahitai nijakarma pakaihi. No, not aham I. Tada, on the other hand, admi, I eat Ejamana by the sacrificer, Havi, the oblation, Vitane, in the sacrificial fire, Shotat, pouring, Gruta, ghee, Plutam mixed, Adan eating, Hutabuk, the sacrificial fire, mukhena by the mouth, yat eyes, brahmanasya of the brahmana, mukataha from the mouth, charataha acting, anugasam morsels, tustasya satisfied, mai to me, avihitai offered, nija own karma activities, pakai by the results. Translation: I do not enjoy the oblations offered by the sacrificers in the sacrificial fire, which is one of my own mouth. With the same, I do not enjoy the oblations offered by the sacrificers in the sacrificial fire, which is one of my own mouth. With the same relish as I do the delicious overflowing with the ghee which are offered to the mouths of the brahmanas who have dedicated to me the results of their activities and who are ever satisfied with my prasada. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The devotees of the Lord or the Vaishnava does not take anything without offering it to the Lord. Since a Vaishnava dedicates all the results of his activities to the Lord, he does not taste anything eatable which is not first offered to him. The Lord also relishes giving to the Vaishnava's mouth all eatables offered to him. It is clear from this verse that the Lord eats through the sacrificial fire and the Brahmana's mouth. So many articles, grains, ghee, etc., are offered in sacrifice for the satisfaction of the Lord. The Lord accepts sacrificial offering from the Brahmanas and devotees. And elsewhere it is stated that whatever is given for the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas to eat is also accepted by the Lord. But here it is said that he accepts offerings to the mouths of the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas with even greater relish. The best example of this is found in the life of Advaita Prabhu in his dealings with Haridasa Thakura. Even though Haridasa was born of Muhammadian family, Advaita Prabhu offered him the first dish of prasada after the performance of a sacrificed sacred fire ceremony. Haridasa Thakura informed him that he was born of a Muhammadan family and asked why Advaita Prabhu was offering the first dish to a Muhammadan instead of an elevated Brahmana. Out of his humbleness, Haridasa condemned himself a Muhammadan, but Advaita Prabhu, being an experienced devotee, accepted him as a real Brahmana. Advaita Prabhu asserted that by offering the first dish to Haridasa Thakura, he was getting the result of feeding 100,000 Brahmanas. The conclusion is that if one can feed a Brahmana or Vaishnava, it is better than performing hundreds of thousands of sacrifices. In this age, therefore, it is recommended that Harir Nama, chanting the holy name of God, and pleasing the Vaishnava are the only means to elevate oneself to spiritual life. Text 9. Esham bibarmi aham akanda vaikunta yoga maya vibhutir amala angri raja kiritaihi vipram stukono vishaheta yed arhanamba sadhya punati sahachandra lalama lokan. Esham of the Brahmanas. Bibarmi, I bear, aham I, akanda unbroken, vaikunta unobstructed, yogamaya, internal energy, vibhuti opulence, amala pure, angri of the feet, raja the dust, kiritahe on my helmet, vipran the brahmanas, thu then, ka who, na not, vishaheta carry, yet of the Supreme Lord, arhanamba water which has washed the feet. Sadhyaha at once, Punati sanctifies, Saha along with, Chandra Lalama, Lord Shiva, Lokan, the three worlds. Translation: I am the master of my unobstructed internal energy, and the water of the Ganges is a remnant left after my feet are washed. That water sanctifies the three worlds, along with Lord Shiva, who bears it on his head. If I can take the dust of the feet of the Vaishnava on my head, who will refuse to do the same? If I can take the dust of the feet of the Vaishnava on my head, who will refuse to do the same? Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The difference between the internal and external energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is that in the internal energy or in the spiritual world, all the opulences are undisturbed, whereas in the external or material energy, all the opulences are temporary manifestation. The Lord's supremacy is equal in both the spiritual and material worlds, but the spiritual world is called the kingdom of God, and the material world is called the kingdom of Maya. Maya refers to that which is not actually fact. The opulence of the material world is a reflection. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that this material world is just like a tree whose roots are up and branches down. This means that the material world is a shadow of the spiritual world. A real opulence is in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, the predominating deity is the Lord Himself, whereas in the material world there are many lords. That is the difference between the internal and external energies. The Lord says that although He is the predominating factor of the internal energy, and although the material world is sanctified just by the water that has washed His feet, He has a great respect for the Brahmana and Vaishnava. When the Lord Himself offers so much respect to the Vaishnava and Brahmana, how can one deny such respect to such personalities? Grandraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Today we read up to Canto 3, Chapter 16, Text 9. We'll continue reading tomorrow. Continue reading tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Now proceed to Guru Puja. Is Sukirti Prabhu here, Prabhu? Huh? He left. Prabhuji.
Yeah, one more. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma. Shri Guru Kevala Bhakti Sadma. Bandho moi savadana mate. Jahara prasade bai ye bhava toriya jai. Ye bhava toriya jai. Krishna prapti hoy jaha hoy te. Krishna prapti hoy jaha hoy te. Gurumukha padma vakya chitate koriya kya. Chitate koriya kya. Arana kori ho mane asha. Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati. Ye prasade pure sarva asha. Ye prasade pure sarva asha. चक्षुदान दिलो जे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से. दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो. दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो. प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते. प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते. वेदे गाय जहर चरितो. वेदे गाय जहर चरितो. श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आधम जनार बंधु. श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आधम जनार बंधु. लोकनाथ लोकेर जीवाना. आहा प्रभु कोरो दया देहो मोरे पादचया. आहा प्रभु कोरो दया देहो मोरे पादचया. Ebe jas kushuk tribhuvana Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Nityananda Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Nittai Gaura Hari Bol
spiritual master, the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with grave and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my conscience purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is a perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates, by him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. We take the shelter of your lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.